Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I will try to cover Plato's argument in favor of the view of birth and rebirth as it is expressed in the dialogue the Phaedo. To be more specific, I will be covering approximately the sections 71e to 72e. For only one part of the argument I will be making use of some things that were said in section 64c. And so, without further ado, let us begin. A little bit of the context of the dialogue. The Phaedo is named after Phaedo, a character that appears in the dialogue and that is recounting to Echecrates what happened at the final hours of Socrates. He himself says, the Phaedo, that he was there in that momentous day. Throughout the dialogue, there are several arguments that are covered, but the one that concerns us today is mentioned after Cebes or Kebes raises the concern or the worry that the soul perishes completely after the death of the body. Thus, the soul perishes right away and does not reach the Hades or a place for the souls. Mind that Cebes or Kebes is raising this concern to Socrates, who is just on the verge of taking the poison because he was condemned to death. And to this concern, Socrates responds with the following argument from opposites. The first premise is, whatever that has some country, it is necessary that it must become from its own country. For example, if I am now called taller, it must mean that at some point in my life I was smaller or shorter. That is the other country, and from this country I had to travel, if you will, the process or the road into becoming the other country, but starting from this other country. That's what is the first premise is stating. Likewise, if an object is hotter, it must mean that at some point of its life it was colder, and from one country it came to be the other. The second premise is, for every pair of contraries there are two becomings, from one to the other and from the other back to the first. It seems to me that this is evident from premise 1, given the explanation that for something to be hot or hotter it had to be at some point cold or colder, and the same can be said on the other way around. If something now is colder, it was hotter before. There are two becomings. To put it succinctly, whichever contrary comes to be from its contrary. This is more so because it is assumed that contraries come in pairs. So, there are only two, each other generating each other. To illustrate this point even further, Plato presents us with an example that is more active, I presume. He gives these two contraries, being asleep and being awake, evidently each one generating each other and each one coming to be from the other. You become awake because you were asleep, and vice versa. You become asleep because you were awake. The third premise. The contrary of being alive is being dead. That is, as everybody might confirm, from life comes death. The fourth premise. Therefore, since there are two becomings, and the dead come from the living people must come from the dead. The fifth premise. And if when we die the soul is released from the body, it must be then that our souls are in Hades, or there, as it's usually expressed during the dialogue. There, that place of the souls. In conclusion, therefore, life comes from the dead. that is, are returning to life, so that the cycle of contraries is necessarily completed. Now, what do you think of the argument from opposites? Did you find it persuasive? Do you have an objection? Something to add in support? Please let me know in the comments. As for me and the topic of this video, this is all, and I can only encourage you to read the Phaedo itself. I have read it, and I think it is a wonderful masterpiece from Plato. So there is that. I say goodbye, and I leave you with a quote from the Phaedo, put as in the words of Socrates. There genuinely is a returning to life. The living come to be from the dead, and the souls of the dead are